Hey guys, Alex Winkler here, and welcome back to a new Enzlo Wednesday video. Today I'll be discussing a really important topic that somehow doesn't seem to make too many headlines. And that is, should you, and if so, how do you pay your taxes on your cryptocurrency profits? This should be a fairly straightforward video. I'm going to start off by Googling a little bit about the IRS and crypto, show you guys some of the forms, and show you what the general consensus is. And then I'm going to be diving into the software that we use to kind of automate our crypto taxes and how you guys can apply it to your own crypto accounting. All right, moving over to the screen now, you'll see I already made a little search, IRS, what form to report with crypto trading gains. With this one quick Google search, we basically found everything that we need to know. I was actually really surprised that the IRS reported that only about 100 people reported their cryptocurrency gains. I thought that was really mind-boggling because there's clearly more than 100 people holding Bitcoin. I mean, I'm right now in Berlin, and last year everyone was talking about it, even people that really aren't tech savvy. So I could only imagine how it is in the States. Last time I was over there, it's definitely a topic that everyone is aware of, and I'm sure most people, or not most people, but I would say a good majority it has either heard of it or dabbled into it. It did surprise me a little bit to find out that so few people are reporting this. It is 100% something that you need to be reporting on your taxes. The first form I want to talk about is the Form 8949. This is typically something that will be automatically done for you if you use something like TurboTax. But something really quickly to take away from this form is your cryptocurrency trades will most likely be under the short term, which basically means any profit or loss that you had dealing with cryptocurrency should be reported here as long as you held that asset for under a year. If you held it for over a year, you put it here. And the number one really difference in taxes on how you will be taxed on that is long-term gains are typically taxed less. I believe they're taxed at roughly around 25%. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into the details of exactly how much you would owe. Just typically know that your long-term taxes are taxed much lower than your short-term. Typically, short-term is considered something you do actively as more or less a job. So, for example, my day trading is short-term because I'm in and out typically within a day or in 3 days or something like that. Anyway, that's like a real job, right? I'm really working for those profits, and that is taxed under ordinary income. So it's the same as if I had a job and I got my paycheck every week. That's exactly the same. While long-term capital gains, even though they're both capital gains, long-term capital gains is something you hold for over a year, you typically get taxed less. I think for 2018, those taxes should be a little less than 2017. I think they reduced those recently. That's something I will let you check because there's a lot of variables. The laws change all the time, and depending what country you're in, this might not be completely relevant. But what every country does look at is typically short-term gains and long-term. So, okay, now we know about this 8949 form. What do we do from there? Well, there's another form. And it sounds complicated, but it's really straightforward. So the 1099 form is the next thing we're going to want to look at. And this form is simply something that you would get from your traditional broker. Think TD Ameritrade or think Charles Schwab. At the end of the year, you can log into your account and basically click on a tax button somewhere in your dashboard, and you will be able to get a 1099 form. The 1099 form will basically give you your profit or loss on whatever you were trading at the end of the year. And you enter that number that you get on the 1099 form typically in TurboTax or another tax software, or give it to your accountant, and your accountant or that tax software will then populate your 8949 form accordingly. So that's why typically this is a very hands-off thing that you won't be doing yourself. So before we move on to, I would say, the next section, the second phase of this video, I want you to quickly be able to take away 3 things from what we talked about so far. First of all, no matter where you live, you're most likely going to have to report your taxes on your crypto earnings or losses. Actually, if you have losses, it's even better because you can deduct those from your income and save even more taxes. So it's really important to do this. If there's one thing I've learned is that governments do not mess around when it comes to collecting their paycheck, so I would not roll the dice on this one. I'm not a certified tax consultant or anything, and this video is purely entertainment. However, I must say, as my personal recommendation, it's always better to file your taxes properly. That brings me to the second point I want you guys to take away, is that whatever number you find out from your earnings or losses from your year-long trading or investing, that number is basically your 1099 form. And in the second phase of this video, I'm going to show you guys how I get to my number on my personal crypto trading. The third thing I want to talk about is don't worry too much. This is actually very simple. You're going to get your 1099 form, and then you're going to add that information on whatever tax software you use, or if you have a tax accountant, they're going to ask you for your 1099 form, and then you just give them that form, or just give them the number that I'm going to show you how to get in a second here. And then they will create the 8949 form for you, and then you will be taken care of. It's some really simple steps, and that's what I want you to remember. Don't get overwhelmed with taxes. In the end of the day, it's really just about doing it and not getting overwhelmed, because there's a lot of forms. They all sound confusing, but in the end, it's fairly straightforward. So let's get into the fun stuff. And this part is a little bit more fun because you actually get to see, what my profits were at the end of the year, what my losses were. Losses aren't always bad. It means you get to save some taxes, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, this is how I do it. So the website I use is Cointracking.info. It's the best website I have found regarding tracking your profit and losses when it comes to cryptocurrencies. So here you can see the dashboard, and I'm not going to dive into a lot of things. This is not a Cointracking.info review video. If you guys want me to make one of those, I would be happy to. I just quickly want to highlight some of the important things and how to use it for your tax reporting. So you might be trading on many different exchanges. I personally use, if you go over here, I use Coinbase a lot. I use Coinbase Pro. I use Kraken. I've used Gemini. Binance is one I use a lot. Anyway, it's really cool. You simply go over to one of these, and then you can set up your API. So basically, Cointracking.info will reach into your account via API, pull out all your trades, organize it, create profit and losses, and document basically everything for you. It's really hands-off and super sweet. Now, you don't need to use their API. They also have exchange import CSV, which is basically you go to your exchange, you download the CSV file, which has a bunch of your trades, your deposits, withdrawals, things like that, and you could upload it manually. You can even go and manually type in your trades yourself, but I would personally advise against that. It's a massive headache. I tried doing it when I first started to kind of keep things simple. I completely stopped doing it after the first few trades. It was a bad idea. The API is the way to go. It's pretty good if there's any changes, like for example, when Coinbase GDAX basically turned into Coinbase Pro, Cointracking.info took care of that very quickly, updated the APIs, and I did not have any issues. Okay, enough with this small talk. Let's dive into the fun stuff and dive into the tax reporting. So all you need to do to get your tax information for 2018, let's say, is click on tax report. Once you are here, all you need to do is scroll down and click this big orange button under create a new tax report. Here you can select everything that you need to create the perfect 1099 form, more or less, so for you to properly report your crypto profit and losses. The default settings I've noticed are pretty spot on, and we're actually going to be using most of them. Obviously 2018 is the way to go. The filter basically, you can pick what you want to include. I think everything is really what you want to include, unless I don't know, you have a good reason of why you would not want to include something. I'm not really sure what that would be. Previous trades is also important. It takes into considerations trades that were opened in maybe 2017 or closed in 2018 and how it affects the 1099 report. Now, again, they don't call this a 1099 report, but this is actually more or less what you're creating. Obviously, this is for many countries, and they basically kept it simple by saying tax report. My last report, I grouped by day, but I don't know if that was necessary. I basically just created an extremely long report, and I don't know really how I feel about that. I personally skipped the advanced options. However, it would be interesting to see what differences it would make, if any, if you selected these. I did not do any margin trading with this account, so for me, it is pretty much irrelevant anyway. So coming over here, most tax information is going to use FIFO. The second most common one is LIFO. I do know if you do pick one of them, you have to actually stick with it. I'm not entirely sure what is required if you want to change back and forth. I don't know if you can. So I would just stick with the default one. If you have any questions, always consult a professional tax consultant. It's definitely not me. I just kind of want to give you guys a little overview of what we do. This is actually the one part I did change. I said calculate gain only because this is more or less irrelevant. I'm going to let TurboTax figure out what my short-term tax rate is and long-term tax rate, because it's going to do all that for me anyway. I just want my number on my 1099 more or less to tell me how much profit or how much losses I made. After you enter that information, just go over here and click generate a new tax report. I'm going to skip that for now because I already did that, and this is it right here. As you can see, it's for tax year 2018. I used the FIFO method. I have a total of 1,087 trades, and my total capital gain is 11,942. Now remember, even though capital gains sounds great, this is short-term capital gains because I did not hold any of these positions over a year, so it's basically ordinary income and not long-term capital gains. You can also go over here to detailed calculation, and this is what I mean by group by day. There is just a lot of transaction. As you can see here, this thing barely moves. If you are interested in checking out Cointracking.info, I added my referral link in the description below. You save 10% when you sign up, and then if you purchase anything. It is free to use, and I have used it free for some time, but if you want to use the API features and some other features, plus if your account grows over a certain amount of imported trades, you will have to purchase the upgraded version or the pro features. I do think personally it's actually a really good deal. And I'm going to keep on using Cointracking.info because from what I've found online, I believe it's the best thing. If you have any crypto accounting software that you use and you like, definitely mention that in a comment below. I would be happy to check it out and see what else is out there. If you have any questions about anything that I talked about in this video, I would be really happy to get back to you. So make sure to leave a comment below. I'd be happy to make a follow-up video at any time, but I pretty much just wanted to make something because I constantly run into questions about this topic, and I realized I never really covered it more than just mentioning that I use Cointracking.info and maybe a few other things on some other past videos. But this is the first, I would say, tax-related crypto video I have made, and I hope it's coming at a good time. If you are interested in trading or investing in crypto, I definitely recommend checking out my other channel, Alex Winkler, where I trade almost every day and I share everything that I do. Alright guys, that's everything from me this video. You're going to get Heiko next week, and then on the week after I'm going to be in Lisbon, so you will see me there. Have a great Wednesday and rest of the week. I'll see you then. Ciao, ciao.